I'll tell you why men stopped wearing hats, because they were tired of looking like this. Beautiful. Now, I know we got our hat wearing crowd out there, but I think it's safe to say that the vast majority of men do not wear a hat on a regular basis. But 70 years ago, pretty much every man walking out of his house wore a hat. So why did men stop wearing hats? Well, the guys over at the Gentleman's Gazette looked to answer this question. Let's see how they did.
When looking at old photographs or watching old movies, you've probably heard people comment on the copious amount of hats worn in them. And when discussing previous eras, you've probably heard the often overused phrase that a man wouldn't leave the house without a hat on. Phrased another way, it's all about the hats. Why is this? Well, it's one of the clearest visual signifiers that differentiates the good old days from today.
This is a solid point. You really can see a transition in time frames, in time periods, based off of headwear. I mean, it's something so obvious when we look at a person's face and we look at these older movies, we see them outside, we see headwear everywhere. I'd say the only place where you see as much headwear being worn today is the military, where pretty much if you're outside, you are covering your head with a cover.
At least within the context of the lineage of classic menswear, men today are still wearing suits on a day-to-day basis, even if they are becoming less common, but the hat is increasingly rarely worn.
Now, Preston, I'm going to disagree with you here. I think men are wearing caps, just not the type that they used to normally wear. No, in the colder weather, what are we grabbing? Watch caps, and they work because they're functional. Here in Wisconsin, occasionally you'll have someone wear a hat like this, Ushanka, that is pulled down. Baseball caps everywhere. Look around. You're a football coach, or maybe you're just simply going to hit the lake. Sometimes you're wearing that full rounded cap.
In the summer months, of course, you may see a baseball cap or two to shield the wearer's eyes from the sun, at least when it's worn in the traditional orientation. Or you may see various types of woolly hats in the winter.
Okay, so he does a pretty good job of addressing my concerns, although I still think baseball caps, lids, I see them everywhere.
Rather, we're discussing hats of the 19th and 20th centuries, such as the
fedora, trilby, Homburg, pork pie, straw boater, flat cap, or even the top hat.
Now, gents, that was a lot of hat styles. If you want an infographic, down in the description of today's video, I'm going to link over to an article at realmenrealstyle.com, my website, that has a complete infographic on all the different styles of hats out there to make it easy for you.
These were the classic types of headwear that would adorn any man's head when he was out and about for business or for leisure.
Now, we keep seeing these hat styles right here. The bowler. Are you familiar with this? I know you guys over in England wear this all the time. Not just kidding. It's really gone out of style. And in the United States, it really didn't have as much of a presence. Although a little bit of history, this hat right here was actually worn out west by a lot of people, but it was quickly traded for a hat with a wider brim because, yeah, this just did not cut it when it came to that southern sun.
What happened and what changed, and why did men stop wearing hats? Well, in order to answer...
All right, so we're just going to freeze this frame and enjoy this image of Sven Raphael Schneider. You know I love you, man. But I want the world to see you in all... I didn't realize you had that much hair. That is amazing. All right, we'll move on in a second.
Well, in order to answer that question, we'll have to dive into the history of hats. Hats have been around since before historical records even began. In fact, the oldest surviving example of prehistoric clothing that we've found does include a hat. Specifically, it's one made of bear skin worn by Ötzi the Iceman.
I, gents, absolutely love that they brought in history, that they've given us this story. I didn't know anything about Ötzi here, and the fact that, yeah, 5,000 years ago, his outfit included that nice hat. Sounds like it did not save him. I wonder what his story is. But, yeah, just goes to show that men have been wearing hats for a long time. I like that. Good job.
However, these must not have worked too well because Ötzi had clearly lost his hat a little while before he died. The first thing that humans naturally shield from...
All right, Jen, so I just want to take a second and just appreciate what Raphael Schneider is doing here for us. He's going above and beyond when it comes to B-roll. Man, Raphael, you rock.
Hats have been worn for various other reasons, including fashion, to show association, or even to show social status or class. For an iconic example of this, we can look to the late 19th and early 20th century with the clear distinction between the upper classes, who wore top hats, and the lower classes, who wore flat caps.
All right, gents, so this is a really interesting point. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see me actually make a video talking about this, the different social status of different hats and what they represent. Upper class, lower class. I have to admit, I love my flat cap. So I guess, you kind of know where I come from.
To dive further into some of the various reasons, we can go back a bit further in history. For example, in the Middle Ages, you can see hats like the coiffe, which were worn for protection, or the chaperon, which were worn for fashion. Through the 1800s, most of our favorite modern hat styles were born. The bowler hat came along in the mid-1800s, and the 1880s gave us both the fedora, although it wouldn't become a men's hat until the 1920s.
There's a little bit of history. The fedora started off as a woman's hat and eventually migrated over to the men's side. Did not know that.
By the turn of the 20th century, there were many different hat options available to men, and the fedora cemented itself as a predominant option, replacing the top hat, Homburg, and bowler.
Wow, just look at this picture right here. Very clearly, you can tell that guy right there did not get the memo to wear a hat.
The fedora's popularity was also cemented due to its frequent appearances in movies, where stars like Cary Grant and Humphrey Bogart wore it, and in the 1950s, musicians like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin continued to make it popular. In the 1960s, the closely related Trilby hat...
All right, that was a solid start to the video. I can see why this video did so well. In 7 minutes, we just went over 7,000 years of hat history. I would have liked to have seen a little bit of me talking about hats around the world, especially protection, not just from the cold, but also the sun and some of the other maybe wet, helmets and stuff like that. But I get they wanted to get to the question is, why did the hats disappear? So hopefully they answer that. Now, gents, one of the advantages of wearing the right hat for your face is it helped to square up the face and make you look stronger, more masculine. Unfortunately, a lot of guys have lost that, and I get it. You're probably not going to be wearing a hat on a regular basis. So how can you help your face, your skin, look better? By having a skincare routine. And the way to get started, gents, is to find the right product. How to find the right product? Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to make it simple for you. Check out Vitaman. Right here, guys, I've got a free sample kit. Yes, guys, you can get this sample kit for free and try our best products over at Vitaman. And I say our best products because I am an owner. Guys, 2 years ago, I tried this product for the first time and was blown away. I got to know the owner and I realized, you know what? We need to partner up. And that's exactly what we did. These products using natural and organic ingredients made over in Australia, really to the highest standard. And check out all the different products. We've got shaving products. We've got skincare products. We've got hair products. If you have oily hair, dry hair, thin hair, we've got products that naturally help to overcome those issues so that you can look your best. Now, gents, our free sample kit is not going to be around forever. So use it or lose it. The link down in the description. This is something that's eventually going to change. So take advantage of it today. Go over there, grab your free sample kit, get the product, try it yourself, and see the Vitaman difference.
The decline in hat wearing is often attributed to President John F. Kennedy going hatless at his inauguration in 1961. But in fact, this isn't true, and further, JFK actually revived the tradition of wearing a top hat to one's inauguration, which had been dormant for a short time.
I appreciate them addressing this thing with JFK because so many people, it's an easy explanation. They want to believe it, but it's not true. There were a number of factors that conspired against the hat, at least my understanding of it, and let's see what Preston's got to say next.
More significantly then, we think we've got 4 main reasons why hat wearing declined, and the first of these is climate control. One of the biggest reasons for the loss of hat wearing is likely that we now have better control over our indoor climate than we used to.
All right, so I really appreciate this explanation because it does make sense, and it also works with the explanation of the disappearance of a number of other menswear staples that we saw about 100 years ago, such as the vest and long thermal underwear.
Our second reason then is notions of social class. Before the World Wars, social class Appearance was an incredibly important aspect of Western society, and people were absolutely expected to know their place. But after the horrors of war brought every social class just a bit closer, we began to focus more on the individual rather than on the class in which they resided. As a result, then, the practice of wearing clothing, and particularly hats, to signify yourself as part of a distinct group.
All right, so the second reason I think is complete BS. People are all about social status. Now, I mean, yeah, not politically correct. A lot of people, let's all look at a person's heart. Let's all, sing kumbaya and hug. No, people are all about stratification. People want to look great. We're all in this world of competition looking for mates. Yes, there is agreement. And yes, you can oftentimes achieve more by finding partners to work with, but you're going to make a choice of partners. And you're going to go with the partners that have the most value. You're going to go for a mate that is healthy. Now, I understand that things happen in life. The reality is people still dress in a way, still wear clothing, they still wear accessories, they still wear even headwear that signifies, hey, I'm part of this group, I'm part of this club. Yeah, we may not want to be saying I'm part of this upper class or I'm part of this class over here, but we do want to send that signal, I'm part of this tribe, and if that interests you, good. If not, stay away because we know we'll kick your ass.
Perhaps the biggest of all of these reasons, though, is the increasing prevalence of highway systems and automobiles over the 20th and 21st centuries. The next time you're on a train, in the subway, or on a bus or tram, look up and consider how much headroom you have above you. Simply put, modern cars aren't built to accommodate the hat styles of old. Early automobiles did somewhat accommodate these hat styles.
Now this point right here, I can get behind. This one makes a lot of sense. What we saw, obviously, people started having individual cars, less public transportation, less headspace. You're simply going to take your hat off, and all of a sudden it becomes an inconvenience. Match that with the modern headrest, all of a sudden, yeah, it's just something that, yeah, it's difficult to start wearing these wide brim hats. Now, gents, if you like headwear, whether it's a baseball cap, watch cap, a Nushanka, if you like flat caps, you like trilbies, you like the cowboy hat. Anyone know what this is down in Australia? Guys, this is an Akubra. If you like these type of hats, do me a favor, smash that like button. By doing this, you'll let the YouTube gods, that YouTube algorithm, know that you're enjoying today's video.
For everyone else, the invention of motor cars made taller hat styles mostly impractical. Furthermore, stiffer hat styles like the bowler or Homburg could also be crushed or misshapen by lower ceilings, whereas the fedora and trilby are naturally crushable and can be packed and stored more easily.
And that's a solid point. I know whenever I'm wearing a piece of headwear, traveling, I'm always thinking, even if it is something that supposedly can be crushed, I don't want to crush it. Then you've got to reshape it. It's just a pain in the butt. What if it actually gets crushed really bad and it doesn't return to its shape? So it is something that whenever I'm traveling, oftentimes I will wear the piece of headwear throughout my travels and just be very careful, and I have to baby it. And then of course you've got hat boxes, but those are huge and yeah, just a pain in the butt.
We did say that there were 4 main elements to this list though, which brings us on to our fourth, the internet. In the last decade and a half or so, hats like the fedora and trilby have gained an increasingly negative reputation thanks to internet memes from websites like 4chan, Reddit, and Tumblr. Indeed, for some younger members of our audience, when we mention fedoras, they might first think of the infamous Tips Fedora meme.
I have to agree. This is something that so many men, they think that, okay, I'm going to look like this guy if I end up wearing a fedora or a hat. And the thing is, you got to find the right one for you. And right with that, you've got to develop the confidence. Now, I'm sure Raphael and Preston and all the guy, Kyle, I'm sure that they actually have videos that they talk about this. But I recommend if you are going to get a hat, go to a hat store. Get one fitted, find something that you really like, and practice wearing it at home around Nobody. Because guess what? Eventually, one day, you're just going to feel great. You're going to forget it's on your head and you're going to walk out and go to the store and you're going to get a compliment. All right, gents, overall, I got to say Preston did a great job. Maybe I would have watched it at about 1.5 speed to get him talking a little bit quicker, but he laid out his case. I think they did a solid job. Now, guys, if you enjoy this type of video, you're going to absolutely love this one. Again, Gentleman's Gazette, but this time, Raphael Schneider is the star of this video and he calls people peasants. Seriously, guys, you got to watch this video. It just cracks me up every time I hear him say it, but yeah, and a few other things. So check out the video, guys. It's a good one. I'll link to it right here.